I want you all to guess a game that came out in the late 90s for a Nintendo console, takes place in Japan, and ends in Mon. Nope, it's not Pokemon. I'm talking about a forgotten Nintendo classic for the Nintendo 64, Goemon Mystical Ninja, made by Konami. Now, this isn't the only Mystical Ninja game. There are many, many more of these, but most only came out in Japan, and the ones that did come out in America didn't sell very well, so they're hard to come by. So thank God this game isn't high in demand, or else it probably costs just as much, if not more, than like Earthbound or Chrono Trigger. Not that it's cheap or anything. I ended up paying almost $100 for it, but please don't tell my landlord because I still owe him rent.
Give me rent.
But making a review of this game might make me think it was worth the money, so sit back and let's get started. The game opens with one of the greatest openings of all time. The cutscene that plays after opening a new save file shows the lives of our main heroes, living in Edo, Japan. Goemon and his friend Ibusumaru get kicked out of a dude's shop for stripping. All of a sudden, a giant UFO comes out of nowhere, headed towards Odo Castle. And I kid you not, it turns the palace into a European-style castle. Okay, that's kind of an odd thing to do. I mean, I know this is probably an analogy for Western imperialism, but it's kind of on the nose. After seeing this, Goemon and his pal go over to the castle to see if everyone's okay. Unfortunately, the bridge is broken, so we need to collect a special weapon from a guy in Mount Fuji, the first major area of the game. Well, now's the time of the video where I talk about the gameplay and oversimplify it. The easiest way I can describe it is a kind of mix between Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time. You jump just like in any other 3D platformer, attack with a sword, collect and buy items, you have a life counter, you can upgrade your health by collecting 4 dolls like in Zelda, you can swap between characters by pressing down C. Goemon can use a sword, and Ibusumaru can bash with a hammer. The controls are good, the graphics are nice. There is a bit of slowdown, and the frame rate drops a bit more often than in most other Nintendo 64 games, but it's not too bad, especially as the game goes on. On top of Mount Fuji is a pipe-making guy who hands us the chain pipe, a bootleg hookshot, which allows the party to reach the castle. You know, for being transformed into a European-style castle, this place still looks pretty Japanese to me. Maybe it's just the outside, I don't know. The palace is massive though, like a typical Zelda dungeon, only a bit more linear, so, basically meaning backtracking sucks. There's a lot of enemies, keys, platforming, hookshotting across gaps, puzzle solving, and we finally meet our main villain. Well, not our main villain, but one of his henchmen, who plans to turn Japan into a giant stage. Next is a boss fight, which I got a game over on. And it's one of those games, you know, but kind of if you get a game over, you lose all your save data. Yay! And my last save point was before I entered the castle. Yay! Oh god, there goes 35 minutes of my life. Just because I was stupid and wanted to backtrack out of the castle to save. I mean, it only would have taken like 5 minutes to do so, but no, I had to, And the boss isn't even that hard anyway, because the second try, it's dead. And we rescue Princess Yuki and her father. He gives the party a super pass to get access to every road in Japan. Using this, we find a house of the wise man who makes giant robots. It blows up, with the same guy as earlier being the one that caused it. What follows is one of the best things about this game, the mech fights. The mech can do a number of things. Pressing A makes the mech punch with the right hand, while pressing B makes him punch with the left hand. C shoots lasers and R shoots a hook that can be used to bring your opponent directly to you for a direct hit. The health of the enemies and the player's mech are even viewable, which is super convenient. Following that epic battle is Town, the most important city of the game, at least the one I visit the most. In it, Goemon and Ibusumaru run into one of their old friends from a previous game, Yay, the ninja detective, and if I was like 16 or 17, so basically a couple years ago, I'd probably make a bunch of comments about how hot she is, but those days are over because now when I say stuff, there's direct consequences. Well, besides that, Ace found out some information about the mysterious people we ran into earlier, Verva Peach Mountain Shoguns. Yae then joins the party, and is the best character in the game, at least in my opinion, because she can attack with a long katana, and is really fast compared to the other two characters so far. To get past the other gate of Zazen, you collect some fish and play a minigame against the gatekeeper. After winning, we not only get to use the gate, but it gives us something, or should I say someone. It's the fourth and final party member, Sasuke, the ninja robot. But he doesn't have any batteries, so you can't play as him for like a really long time. For like half the game, even though you have him in your party. But you can't play as him for like half the game until you get those batteries, so yay. The area beyond Kiyowaji Island is where the game starts to get really fun. There's a boss fight on the back of this giant dragon who turns out to be the son of the dragon god. He was hypnotized and used to kidnap children, but is freed by Goemon and co. Once freed, he decides to be our taxi service for the rest of the game. Thank God this system exists. It's so convenient, with only two minor annoyances, those being how only Yae can summon him, and the long unskippable animation that plays every single time you use it. What's really bad though, is the next minigame that you have to play to get some magical fruit, which allows Ibisumaru to shrink to become small enough to enter the next dungeon. Ibisumaru moves so slow. These bomb things get thrown so fast, and they have ridiculous range. Every time you get near a wall or these pop beads, it feels like you get stuck to them. I hate this minigame so much. There's no skill involved since the location of these bombs drop randomly anyway, so it's just luck if you win. But finally, it's over now. With this new shrinking ability, we can get into the next dungeon, or castle I should say, the Ghost Toy Castle. This is probably my favorite castle in the game, just because of how much I typically love areas themed like this. There's spooky ghosts, a crane minigame, billiards, and a camera that lets Ibisumaru flash a light to reveal secrets. Unlike in Zelda games, you have to go through a dungeon and backtrack and look for new areas to use your new dungeon item, in this game, you only have to use it a couple of times, and most of the areas are pretty close by, which is nice. The boss is super easy though, like easier than the first boss by a long shot. I am not complaining, but I'm a little salty because I wanted to be prepared this time, so I wasted 5 minutes of my life just to exit the dungeon to save. Oh, and one of the villains is named Spring Breeze and Dancin'. The name probably sounds a lot better in Japanese, but for all I care, in English, it's the worst name of a villain I've ever heard. The next region is Chugoko. It's open with a lot to explore and find. This bit right here might be my favorite part of the game, especially since you finally get to play as Sasuke after you find some batteries. Sasuke stabs with a knife and throws bombs, and these bombs can destroy cracks in the wall just like in Zelda. And using this, you can get into the next dungeon, and yeah, there's not really much of a gap between the two dungeons. This is the Festival Temple Castle, and I guess there's not really much I can say about it I haven't already set up at the other places. Sasuke gets an ice dagger, which is pretty useful. It can freeze these fire platforms. And there's this really annoying platforming part where the game slows down dramatically, making it so painful. Like before, the boss is super easy. It's like the Phantom Ganon fight from Ocarina of Time, only a bit less tough. Looking back, I have no idea why I struggled so much with the first boss. And we get to see the second leader of these guys, Kitty Lily, who has already taken over the Kyushu region of Japan. On the way there, you run into one of Goemon's love interests, Omatsu, who has been sent to deliver some dumplings to the region. But all of a sudden, a dark void comes along and sucks up the whole region. Well, at least you still have Yae, Goemon, old buddy. All hope's not lost though. How unfortunate for Yae, because there's a new martial arts master in town. You play the easiest minigame of all time. Seriously, as long as you spam the B button and spin a control stick, you really can't lose. After that, Goemon can now go Super Saiyan, which is used to only push around metal blocks. Also the double attack power, but while in golden mode you take double damage, so I never use it unless I have to. One metal block leads to a tunnel, which leads to Festival Village, which leads to Mount Fear. At the same time, or I should say when, because this part's required. Anyway, when you return to Mount Fuji, the pipe guy upgrades all the party's weapons, which feels great. They're now made of metal instead of wood, have higher attacking power, and Ye can do this weird sword spin thing. Like I was saying earlier, you have to get your weapons upgraded to destroy this boulder blocking the path on Mount Fear. At the top is an ugly witch that summons the old wise man, and we now get to know where Kyushu went. Freaking outer space, which is impressive I have to admit. To get there you have to collect 4 miracle items. Thankfully at this point they've already collected 3, so only 1 more to go. In a nearby waterfall you get to play yet another mini game. And if you win it, you unlock Ye's mermaid ability, but this minigame is honestly really tough. And I just gave up after a few minutes and used a turbo controller, and won, like really easily. Yay, cheating. After completing the minigame, you get the transformation ability, and Ye can now turn into a mermaid, and she can swim underwater and stuff. And let's just be thankful she's the one who can use it and not Ibisumaru. Guess what you used this for? Yup, that's right, to enter a new dungeon. This one being water themed, and let's be honest, everyone hates these areas in games, but this one actually isn't too bad, at least compared to other water themed areas in 90s games. There's no air meter, Ye can swim pretty fast, there aren't too many obstacles in the way, and it's easy to control. The whole area is a breeze overall, including the boss, which is fought with impact again. Only one problem. What's-his-face lost a miracle item in Seizentown. Great. Filler! Oh, I hate filler in games, but it's not too bad here. You just go to this duck guy, he has the item, and he wants his favorite food, which is the top of a mountain. You get it from this one guy's son, and in this whole filler section, Sasuke gets a special power-up, a rocket pack. You get up on the mountain, get the food, give it to the duck, and get the final miracle item. Finally, it's time for the last area. Before entering though, be sure to copy your save to another file, because once you enter, you can never come back, just like the Cave of the Past from Earthbound. The first stretch is Gorgeous Music Castle, which is cool. Each character gets to utilize their abilities. There aren't any super annoying sections like there are in so many other games' final areas, and there's not even a boss. On the other side of the castle is Sojin Town, which has suffered a terrible fate. The whole town's architecture is now European. Omatsu's fine as well, and I love how Sasuke only cares about the well-being of Japan. The rest of the world, who cares? But Japan? Now that's a problem. The old wise man is fine as well, although I kind of wish he wasn't, because he's the one who made the instant stage beam and all the robots the Peach Mountain Shoguns have been using. Just because they gave him some car magazines, and okay, yeah, we all know what they were in the Japanese version. We don't need to go there. He does upgrade your weapons to their ultimate level though. And now it's time for the last castle. Unlike the Gorgeous Music Castle though, I hate this castle. There are so many annoying jumps you have to make, burning lava and whatever the heck these things are supposed to be. The one saving grace is how short it is, which is something that a lot of other games need to learn from. The final boss is pretty good too. The first phase of the fight is fairly easy. You shoot peaches, balls, cannons, and whatever the heck that is on the inside until it explodes. Phase 2 is a bit annoying. Sure, it's like any other impact battle, you shoot, you grab, you punch, but the jerks keep summoning these asteroids all the time. I wouldn't exactly say this fight is hard though. Annoying, a little bit, but hard, I'd say it's a decent challenge. After Lillian Danson's ship is defeated, it gets thrusted into space so hard they explode into constellations and freaking die. Kyushu falls back to Earth and our story ends with the 4 heroes getting chased by a bunch of Lillian Danson fangirls. Truly the most horrifying thing in this whole game. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, when I first got this game, I really didn't expect it to be this good. Yeah, I knew it'd be decent and all, but I'd only seen like a couple of videos, and the main thing I think I can describe this game as is, it's one of those games that doesn't really have a whole lot of annoying places, or areas, or modes, or anything like that, except for that one minigame with Ibisumaru. The controls are pretty good, the graphics have aged okay, at least compared to other games during this time, as well as the controls. Like, there are so many other games from this era where the controls just suck really bad. I really like the characters having a number of unique abilities. You can switch between them on the fly, the music's catchy, and the setting of a steampunk-like Edo Japan is really interesting. Most of all though, there aren't any parts of the game that I found dreadfully annoying, like I said earlier. There's no water temple, or Ghost by You, or times you have to walk through the entire game all over again if you fall off a cliff. It's just a good game all the way through. This game, though, is expensive and rare, with only 50,000 American copies existing, technically making it rarer than Earthbound. So emulation is your best option if you want to play it for yourself. Someday I might play another Goemon game, because there are so many more Goemon games, including another one for the N64, Goemon's Great Adventure. Who knows, maybe I'll play it for you guys someday. Probably not though, because this video is only gonna get like 100 views, so it'd be a waste of time. I really need to make more Earthbound stuff, because that's the only thing that ever gets views on this channel. But whoever is watching this right now, thanks for watching. And with that, until next time everyone.